Welcome to episode 3 of Wrestling's Rock Bottom. Today, I'll be reviewing Monday Night Raw on April 10th, 2017. We open up Raw with an impending mystery in the air, with the Superstar shakeup now in effect. We get the usual commentators as last time, but they mention how even they could be included in the shakeup. Corey says how we don't know who can show up. Then John Cena's theme hits, but it's not Cena. It's actually Miz and Maurice in a Cena and Nikki Bella costume. It is talked about how the Miz and Maurice are now on the Raw roster. Miz starts a Cena sucks chant. Miz does the same beginning of the promo that he did on SmackDown. Miz then says that Hollywood didn't want them as they aren't good actors, saying they're robotic. Then Dean Ambrose's theme hits to a huge pop. Commentary is going crazy over the Intercontinental Champion coming to Raw. Ambrose thinks Miz and Maurice are actually Cena and Nikki Bella. He starts feeling relieved, thinking he knows some familiar faces from SmackDown. Ambrose congratulates John and Nikki, saying that Miz and Maurice are the worst, congratulating John for his work voice acting an elephant who ate pistachios. Oh, good old Wacky Dean. Miz and Maurice then reveal to Ambrose that they aren't Cena or Nikki Bella. Ambrose then hits Miz with the dirty deeds. Up next is New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods versus The Revival. But first, we see Kurt Angle backstage on the phone until Sami Zayn comes in. Sami Zayn asks if he's staying on Raw or SmackDown Live. Angle says there's a lot of eyes on Sami for SmackDown. A CM Punk chant breaks out for some reason. Then Miz and Maurice appear. Miz talks to Kurt, confronting him about being attacked by Ambrose. Sami Zayn and Miz start to get heated when Kurt Angle puts out the match for tonight. Sami Zayn versus The Miz. Now we have the New Day versus The Revival. Kofi is injured after the attack from The Revival last week, so Big E has a blow-up doll to represent Kofi. The New Day say that the spirit of Kofi is in the blow-up doll. New Day call out The Revival to get this work. The Revival come out with shirts that talk about breaking Kofi's ankle and pushing over the cart last week. Woods starts off quick, kicking Dash in the stomach. Big E and Woods hit Dash with a combo, and then an assisted wheelbarrow splash for a 2 count. Dawson distracts the ref, causing Dash to pull Woods' hair to the mat, and then both lift Woods and slam him to the mat by his hair. We come back from commercial, and Dawson hits Woods with a back suplex. Dash pushes Woods into the rope, and Woods tries to roll him up. Dawson prevents Woods from tagging Big E in, but Woods hits him with a rolling forearm. Big E tags in and hits Dash with 3 belly-to-bellies. Big E then hits Dash with a running splash. Dawson grabs Big E from the apron, stunning him, leading to a roll-up by Dash. Dawson tags in, but Big E is too fast and strong for a double clothesline. As Big E runs the ropes, Woods tags in, hitting an enziguri to Dash, and Big E hits a belly-to-belly into the corner to Dawson. Woods then hits a corner-to-corner springboard elbow drop. Dash sneaks a tag. Big E looks for the big ending on Dawson, but he gets pushed away. Woods jumps from the second rope to get hit by the Shatter Machine for the win. That was a great match. I wish it was a bit longer, but the finish was fantastic. Apparently, we will also find out the fate of Seth Rollins tonight. Neville is backstage. Caruso talks to Neville about Aries becoming the #1 contender for the Cruiserweight title again. TJP comes in, warning him to be careful what he says as he will beat Neville for the title. Neville says TJP's career is a joke since he won the belt for the first time. Aries then appears, telling TJP that even though he's wearing sunglasses at night, indoors, even he can see Neville is lying. Neville tells TJP to believe who he wants to believe as he leaves. Hawkins is now in the ring. Hawkins is on Monday Night Raw. Hawkins calls out the welcoming committee, to which out comes Paul White. Hawkins goes in for a hug, but gets immediately knocked out by the Big Show. Tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw is sponsored by Johnsonville. Neville is now on commentary for the next match, which is Austin Aries versus TJ Perkins. They announced for the Raw branded pay-per-view Payback, it will be Aries versus Neville for the Cruiserweight title. Neville says he looks forward to torturing his opponent in the ring. TJ Perkins hits Aries with a leg tijeras from the ground. Aries goes from a headstand to a dropkick. Aries starts to mock TJ Perkins. Aries hits Perkins with a springboard, senton, and an elbow from the second rope to the back of Perkins. Perkins hits Aries with a kick to the gut and reverses a whip to the ropes by catching the rope. Perkins tries to hit a dropkick to Aries from the apron, but Aries dodges out of the way. Aries then claps Perkins' head and then hits a net breaker on the apron. Aries then dives onto Perkins to the outside. Neville tries to distract Aries in order to get him counted out, but Perkins rolls Aries up for the win. After the match, Perkins sneak attacks Aries, hitting him with the detonation kick. We then see the most awkward backstage encounter between Rollins, Big Cass, and Enzo. Rollins tries to fist bump Enzo, but Enzo goes for a handshake. Now we go in for the analysis. As you can see, Seth tries to get Enzo to fist bump him, but Enzo is firm. The two lock eyes. Who will give in first? Seth tries one more time to will Enzo into giving him a fist bump, and Enzo does. Seth Rollins comes out to address the future on if he's on Raw or SmackDown. Talks about how much pain he was in after his match with Triple H at WrestleMania. Says that he did it. He slayed the King of Kings. He wants to win the WWE Universal Championship or settle the score with Samoa Joe. But he doesn't know if he will get those opportunities due to Stephanie getting put through a table. Seth then gets a "thank you Seth" chant. He says he won't take the easy route this time by going to SmackDown Live, so he asks Stephanie that if she wants to ship him out, she'll need to put up a fight. To which Kurt Angle comes out. Angle grabs the mic and says that if it was 2 weeks ago, Seth would be gone, but he saw something special in Rollins at WrestleMania. Angle wants Raw to be the most special show, so he wants Seth Rollins to stay on Monday Night Raw. To which Samoa Joe sneaks up and attacks Rollins after the promo, and they start to fight. Joe headbutts Rollins, but Rollins hits a few kicks on Joe, and he exits the ring. Charlie Caruso is backstage with United States Champion Kevin Owens. Owens says that the cream always rises to the top. Owens tells Caruso to find and ask Jericho what he thinks about the shakeup, as he would love to run to SmackDown. Oh wait, he's at home. Caruso flubs the word Intercontinental. Owens says Ambrose should know his place, as Owens is the premier champion of Raw, as it is the Kevin Owens show. Next is Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax in a quote-unquote Raw Women's Division match. Which, I'm sorry, what do you mean Raw Women's Division match? Is this match supposed to represent the Raw Women's Division? Is this the only Raw Women's representation? I'm so confused. Also, if this is the representation, where's the women's champion for the brand? Nia Jax whips Charlotte face first into the mat. Charlotte unloads a series of strikes to Jax, but Jax comes back running into Charlotte. Flair hits a neck breaker to Jax. Jax then picks up Flair up into a shoulder breaker, to which, oh no. Nia Jax drops Charlotte onto her neck. Jax then hits Flair with 2 elbow drops to her back, and then locks in a Cobra Clutch to Flair. The audience is not paying attention to the match now. Flair reverses the Samoa drop and targets the midsection of Flair. Charlotte then targets the leg of Jax and hits the natural selection for a 2 count. Jax gets sent shoulder first into the post and then gets set into the post a second time. Charlotte does a moonsault from the outside to Jax, who tries catching her, but it leads to a boot to the face. For the love of God, please end this match and take it home. Flair boots Jax in the face and tries to go for the figure 4. Flair gets sent into the bottom turnbuckle. Flair's arm is now bleeding. Jax picks up Flair into the Samoan drop, hitting it for the win. That match was sloppy and awful. That has to be the worst match I've seen in this series so far. If that's the representation of the Raw Women's Division, then this division sucks, and it has Bayley and Sasha Banks in it. I think it would be better if we put this match into a bit of perspective. This is a segment I like to call Squared Circle Scoops. What's happening in wrestling? So what is happening in wrestling? Well, just Okada versus Shibata. You know, the famous Okada versus Shibata. The match that caused Shibata's brain to be removed from his head. Yes, that match. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's really effing good. That has been your Squared Circle Scoop. What's happening in wrestling? Next, we have a vignette showcasing Finn Balor. Now it's Finn Balor versus Jinder Mahal. We get another up-close look at Balor's face. Balor dropkicks Mahal in the face. Mahal then kicks Balor a few times, and Balor lays in a combo, but Mahal hits Finn with a stiff forearm that looked rough in the replay. Balor hits Mahal with a Pele, a sling blade, a dropkick into the corner, and then a diving stomp. Mahal looks like he hit Balor for real multiple times, as Balor has multiple red marks on his face after the match. Bray Wyatt then interrupts after the match, saying that he is on Monday Night Raw, says he isn't coming back alone as he has a match at Payback. He warns Balor to watch his back, as he is watching, ending the promo with his lantern in hand, saying "I'm here," blowing it out. That was another nothing bad match. I will say, it wasn't as bad as Flair vs. Jax, but it is pretty close. Apollo Crews is announced as being brought to Raw, same with Kalisto and the tag team Rhino and Heath Slater. Next up is The Miz vs. Sami Zayn. Commentary are calling Sami Zayn a suck-up again. Miz gets sent to the outside early in the match. Zayn looks to dive onto Miz, but Miz pulls Maurice in front of him. Zayn then does a moonsault instead, landing himself back in the ring. We come back from commercial with a backbreaker neckbreaker combo to Sami from The Miz. Miz then positions Sami to the top rope looking for a superplex. Zayn manages to fight out of it, but misses the dive from the top rope, leading to Miz hitting the small DDT. I say small because instead of a full DDT, Miz hits it while the opponent is kneeling. Miz then starts to do the yes kicks mocking Daniel Bryan. Zayn dodges the last kick leading to a blue thunder bomb. Zayn sets up for the haluva kick, but Maurice yanks Miz out of the ring. Maurice distracts the ref, leading to Miz setting Zayn up for the skull-crushing finale, but Zayn reverses it, leading to a roll-up for the win. This is so far the only other good match tonight after the tag match. Announced for the main event is Champion vs. Champion, Kevin Owens vs. Dean Ambrose. We now go backstage for a sit-down interview with Roman Reigns by Michael Cole. Cole asks if Reigns feels remorseful for potentially ending Taker's career at WrestleMania. Reigns replies that he respects Taker, but wasn't prepared to end a legend, but he did what he needed to do. Strowman then appears beating up Roman and throwing him into a table backstage. A "Thank you Strowman" chant starts in the crowd. Braun Strowman proceeds to send Roman into the arena's garage door a few times, and then running power slams him onto some rolling gearboxes. Refs and security continually yell at him to stop, but do absolutely nothing to interfere during the beatdown. A box gets rolled into Roman, who's sitting on the wall. Then some medical staff and a stretcher appear, loading Roman onto the stretcher. Strowman then comes back and rolls Roman's stretcher, presumably with him still on it, off a ledge. Roman then gets properly loaded into the ambulance, but Strowman reappears screaming. Strowman then lifts the ambulance up, tipping it over with Roman inside of it. For a company that wants to push Roman as the top guy of the company, they sure do love to beat him up, making him look as weak as possible. Also, this just makes the heels seem cooler than Roman does. Honestly, in my opinion, Strowman seemed like a monster in a cool way than an evil beast. We come back from commercial with Reigns getting unloaded from the tipped over ambulance and into a smaller ambulance where he's taken away. The Good Brothers and the Shining Stars, aka the Clones, are in the ring set to face off against The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus, and the Hardy Boys. Elias suddenly appears on the ramp, marking his main roster debut. Sheamus and Cesaro hit Anderson with a Death Valley and Stomp combo. Sheamus then whips Cesaro into Anderson for an uppercut, and then Cesaro hits a crazy corner springboard crossbody to Anderson. We come back from commercial, and the Good Brothers hit a backdrop neckbreaker combo to Cesaro. Primo hits Sheamus with a backstabber. Matt Hardy tags in and starts doing his turnbuckle attack to Epico. Matt hits a side effect to Primo, and Matt sets up Epico with the Twist of Fate, but Gallows stops him. But Jeff comes in and hits the Twist of Hate to Gallows. Anderson runs in, but Cesaro and Sheamus clothesline him over the top rope. Jeff Hardy then jumps off of Matt Hardy's back, diving onto the outside of the ring. Matt reverses the backstabber and sets up for the Twist of Fate into Swanton Bomb for the win. This was a quick but fun match, and that's all it needed to be. It's official. At Payback, it will be The Bar versus the Hardys for the Raw Tag Team Championship. We see Dana Brooke backstage when Emma appears. Emma says that Dana Brooke used to be her protege and to follow her. Dana Brooke says she is learning to stand on her own 2 feet and doesn't need her or anyone else anymore. Next is a Bayley segment. Never mind, Sasha Banks is coming out. So why was the match between Jax and Flair called a Raw Women's Division match? Never mind. Banks says she has some unfinished business, but first she introduces her friend Bayley. Bayley thanks the fans, and Banks congratulates her, but says that moment is over. Banks starts the challenge for the belt, but Alexa Bliss interrupts, marking her move to the Raw roster. Bliss says that she deserves recognition rather than them. Bliss says she will go back to what she does best, which is winning and dominating. Then Mickie James' music hits and says she's now on Raw. Mickie James says that Bliss' nightmare has just begun, but Jax attacks her from behind. Jax then starts beating up on Banks and Bayley as she holds up the Raw Women's Championship. You know what? After that match Jax had with Flair, I'm good. I have no desire to see Jax beat Bayley. Next is Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens, champion versus champion. But first, we get an injury update from the Attack, which includes cracked ribs and a separated shoulder after the Strowman attack. During the entrance, we get another match announcement for Payback, which is a rematch of Jericho versus Owens for the United States Championship. Ambrose tries to hit the Dirty Deeds early in the match, but Owens reverses it. Ambrose sends Owens into the barricade a few times. Cole calls Ambrose a fry short of a Happy Meal, whatever that means. Ambrose dives to Owens on the outside. Ambrose rebounds off the corner and clotheslines Owens into the corner. Ambrose runs at Owens again, but gets sent shoulder first into the post. Owens then knees Ambrose's head into the post. After a long chin lock, Ambrose gets out of it and gets sent to the outside. Kevin Owens sends Ambrose into the post from a fireman's carry. Ambrose gets into the ring on a 9 count, but gets hit with a neckbuster on Kevin's knee. Owens goes for a senton, but Ambrose gets his knees up. Kevin Owens gets sent to the outside, and Ambrose dives himself to the outside onto Owens. Ambrose looks for Dirty Deeds again, but Owens blocks it, leading to a flurry of clotheslines and a swinging neckbreaker. Owens looks for a cannonball senton, but Ambrose hits him with a boot. Owens gets positioned on the top rope, and Ambrose lariats Owens off from the second. Ambrose is perched on the top rope and drops an elbow onto Owens on the outside. Ambrose is selling his ribs, and dives onto Owens again, to which Owens kicks him in the stomach. Owens goes for what is almost the package piledriver, but instead hits him with a slam instead for a 2 count. Owens pops Ambrose up for the powerbomb, but Ambrose reverses it into a Hurricane Rana. Ambrose looks for the Dirty Deeds again, but gets reversed into an elbow. Ambrose rebounds off the ropes looking for a lariat, but Owens super kicks him. Owens then looks for the Dirty Deeds himself, but Ambrose rolls Owens up into the Dirty Deeds for the win. This match was better than a few of the matches seen tonight, but I don't think it's the best. Jericho's music then hits, Ambrose exits, leaving Jericho and Owens in the ring. Jericho hits Owens with a codebreaker, laying him out. As the show goes off the air, we see a mimic of what happened at WrestleMania, with Kevin Owens' finger on the bottom rope. So, how did the show feel overall? Compared to the last 2 shows that felt fine overall, this one was worse. Though it did have some fun matches, New Day versus The Revival, Miz versus Sammy, and Ambrose versus Owens were great. On the flip side, however, Flair versus Jax was rough, and Mahal versus Balor was a stiff match. Plus, a lot of segments showing the future stories of the next few weeks left a lot to be desired. Personally, I'd much rather see Banks versus Bayley than Nia Jax versus Bayley, especially after the match she had with Flair. Also, I'm rooting for Strowman rather than Reigns if they have a match in the near future. With that marks the end of today's episode of Wrestling's Rock Bottom. What did you think? Leave your opinion of this episode in the comments below, and I will see you all next time.